July 6th is His Holiness the Dalai Lama's birthday. So he will be 84, the way we count years, tomorrow. And actually in Dharamsala, India, where he lives, it's already July 6th. And it's probably 6:45 in the morning, and people are gathering to do long life puja for His Holiness. In our country, we don't necessarily do long life pujas for people, but we give them presents on their birthday. So the Abbey is going to give His Holiness a present. Yeah, and the present, it doesn't exist. Well, it exists, but it doesn't exist. It is merely labeled, but there's no basis of designation to point to for it yet. And that is our Buddha Hall. Okay, so when we started the Abbey in 2003, as it happened, it wasn't my plan, I was leading a retreat at Cloud Mountain Retreat Center, and at the same time negotiating the final terms of the contract to purchase the property. Some of you were there at the time, so you remember that I was teaching a course, and in the break time I was on the telephone learning about what radon was and how you put in a radon system, and what do you need in order to sign a contract, and how do you get insurance for the house, and what do you do about the people who are living in here already who want to stay longer. So I would do all that in the break time with telephones and this and that. And then I would walk peacefully up to the hall and sit down and say, now you're going to meditate. And then as soon as the session ended, I would run back to the office and try and get everything to fall in place. And it fell in place enough so that we had a signing there to purchase the property. And so everybody at the retreat was part of that, was chanting and, and generating positive motivation and so on and so forth when I signed the purchase papers. So every time we've had to build something since then, we've had a signing ceremony. Yeah. And there's subsequently usually been two, one for the architect to build a new building and one for the contractor. And I don't know which one is more scary. Yeah. Okay. When we moved here, the meditation hall was down here, downstairs here. There, it was a garage. And there was Ananda Hall, which was the main house, the barn, and then the small log cabin at the end of the garden. Okay? And so in the first years, when we started out, there was one monastic and 2 cats, and that was adequate space for us. When we got to about 6 people, it became difficult, because the offices, the bedrooms, the kitchen, the dining room, everything was in that one building. And we were already having courses and retreats. And so it was getting a little bit crowded. So we decided to build a separate residence for the nuns. And that's how Gotami House got built. Okay. Then we maybe got to a population, I don't know, of 10 to 12, still only 2 cats, but the human beings increased. And then it was again too small, because the kitchen and the dining room were still in Ananda. even though the bedrooms had moved over there, but we still had the offices and the kitchen and the dining room in there. And it was way too small. We had already made the garage into a hall. Okay. So then we had to build this building, Chenrezig Hall. Okay. And when we built it, we thought, my goodness, this is so huge. How are we ever going to fill it? Well, you can see already, it's getting full. And our meditation hall. Okay. With this retreat that we're in now, we just fit in. Okay. There's 3 monastics who are not attending. That gave you a little more room. There's 2 people that are just coming for the weekend. But if we put all those 5 people in, okay, so it's getting crowded in the hall. And if you're here at other times, everybody starts out in the hall, but then people who are new, partway through, they leave the hall and go into the chapel downstairs. Yeah, so rain, snow, whatever, dark, light, you get up and you go down there for the meditation. So we're again too small. We're now at 16 people, full-time residents, and 1 long-term guest nun, and 4 cats. Yeah, and the turkey population has increased, but they're not coming in the buildings, thank goodness. So we again have to build to accommodate. Also, because initially when we had retreats, maybe at the most there would be 20 people, including the residents at the retreat. Now, this retreat, we're almost at 50. Okay? And this is a week-long retreat. When we have sharing the Dharma day, we can get 50, 65, 70. We get a lot of people for sharing the Dharma days. And I think that attendance retreat will keep on growing. And the meditation hall does not grow with us. Okay? So we need a Buddha hall. Now, so we've been thinking about this for some time, yeah? But it's always been kind of a dilemma because, do we build for a few more people than we have right now? Or do we build it very big? What kind of size do you build it for when you don't know how big you're going to get, but you're definitely going to grow? So this last autumn, no, it was in the spring, this present spring, when Venerable Domcha and I were in Taiwan. We were at Puyi Nunnery, and we were talking to the abbess there and to Venerable Heng Ching. And both of these are senior nuns, lots of experience. Venerable Chao Yin. My Chinese isn't so good. But she's built her whole place and many places. So we presented this predicament to them and said, what do we do? What size do we build for? If we build big, it costs more money. We have more upkeep, but then it will have room to grow. If we build small, it's easier. It's cheaper for now. We don't have the upkeep, but then what happens when we get more than 30 monastics? We're stuck. So both of these senior nuns, without skipping a beat, said, big. Okay. It was, there was no discussion. You build big. It was like, how in the world are we going to do this? But they were uncompromising. You have to build big. So what we have planned now, and somebody may say it's still too small, but I don't know. okay, is the Buddha Hall will be in beyond, well, it's up from Gotami House and then past Prajna Cottage in that meadow there. So you know where the landing is, where the vehicles are parked, just below that. Yeah, there's a whole field that goes down. So we're thinking of a 3-story building. Yeah. Yeah. So the top floor will be the main Buddha Hall, and we're thinking to sit 100. But that just means that maybe you'll have more room to do full-length prostrations. Because right now you're in the meditation hall, and you not everybody can even do short prostrations, let alone the full-length ones. So we want a room where people can do full length. Then we're going to have 2 side rooms. Yeah, one will be a Tara room. Yeah, Tara is kind of our protector and our guide. And the other one will be a room where we can do our Vinaya ceremonies, where we can create what in Vinaya you call a subsidiary territory. So, and both of those rooms will hold about 50 each. And then we'll have I don't know, we haven't named this room yet. But the idea came when we were in Taiwan at Dharma Drum Mountain, which is a huge, huge monastery there. And what they have, because as monastics, people are constantly, all the time, contacting us to make prayers and dedications for people facing obstacles, people who are sick, people who have died, and so on. So what we saw at Dharma Drum was on one wall in one room, there was a big computer screen, okay? And they had some computer whiz, probably age 3 or 4. You know, because these are the people who build the computers now. I can't understand them. You know, design this. So there was one with Amitabha Buddha in the Pure Land, and people could write into Dharma Drum, and if they had a relative or a friend who died, you know, and they want to make prayers to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land, they could say that, and then on the screen, there you'll see lotuses with people inside floating up to Amitabha's Pure Land, and the lotus opening and thinking of your relative being born there. Okay, so it was beautiful, and it was, you know, so we thought we'll have one room where we have a screen like that, you know, where people can really pray for your relatives to be in Amitabha's Pure Land. We'll have another screen, and maybe we'll have a designing conference or competition where you can draw these things. One for people who have obstructions of some sort, and they want to clear the obstructions. So another dedication screen for them. Another one for making prayers for people who have poor health, that they can recover quickly. And then another one so that people can have calm, peaceful minds and good relationships. Yeah. And so this room will have these different screens, and then people can sign up, you know, and the names and so on will be on the screens, and then we can all dedicate for these people. So that room might hold, I don't know, 20 people. We're not sure yet. And then so that's the top floor. Then we need. We also want to have a room, hopefully, for the elder guest teachers who come, like a little suite with a room and a kitchenette and a room for an attendant, a waiting room for a teacher, a flower arrangement, an offering arrangement room, you know, these kinds of things that you need near the main hall. So that will be the top floor. Okay? Then the floor below that will be the library and the media room. So you can see the size of our library now. We have boxes and boxes of books in storage because our library is too small. Okay? So this will enable us to have a larger library and then a larger media room where either everybody can watch one thing or people can go and watch different Dharma videos on their own if you're studying a certain topic or whatever, and we have all of our things archived. Yeah, so that'll be the middle floor. Then the lower floor, of course, you need all the really exciting things like where you put the equipment. What do you call that? Mechanical room. Yeah, so you need a mechanical room, a storage room. We also need a storage room up on the main hall where to put the chairs and cushions and all sorts of stuff. And then we're going to make a lot of small single bedrooms on the lower floor with the idea that some of the monastics would move over there and then more women who are guests will stay in Gautami. Okay? And so that will be our 3 floors. Yeah. So the architect who built Gautami House, yeah, did such a good job that we hired him to build this building too. And he did such a good job with this one that we also went down last month and asked him to please be the architect for the Buddha Hall. So what we have here is the architect's contract with spaces to sign. Yeah. So I thought we would have the signing ceremony here on His Holiness's birthday with all of you present on a Friday evening when we have several of our Singaporean friends listening in on the other side of the ocean. It's Saturday morning where they are, and where we could all, chant the mantra and put our prayers and our good energy and everything into this all together, because this building is for all sentient beings. Yeah, when you build a monastery, it's not just for a couple of people, it's for everybody, because the purpose is to have a place where people can practice and attain realizations and benefit all sentient beings. Okay? So that's what we're doing. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, so also to, when you undertake a project like this, then you need to create a lot of merit. So when we built Chenrezig Hall, people recited Chenrezig mantra, millions of them. 21 million. It was her idea. What? Chunfa's idea. Okay. So that was Chunfa. He's one of our Singaporean friends. Okay. This year, Venerable Tarpa and I decided how many mantras we're doing. And we're going to be, instead of Chenrezig mantra for Chenrezig Hall, we're going to do the Buddha's mantra for the Buddha Hall. So it's Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Asoha. You don't need the Tayata before it. And you don't need to sing it in that melody. You can just do Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Asoha. Okay? And we're going to do 108,000. Yeah. 108,000 mantra. The mantra is twice as long as the Chenrezig mantra. Yeah. And if we do it very quickly, then we can always recite more. Okay. But we're, I wasn't writing books back then, so yeah. She'd have us recite 108 million. Good. And they'll do Buddha mantra too. Yeah. And if we finish 108, then we can always do another 108. Yeah, there's no limit, but we will start with that. 108,000 is still pretty big, don't you think? Yeah. Okay, I'm sure somebody will sit down and figure out how many seconds it takes to recite each mantra, and then figure out how many hours and days it will take to recite 108 million of the mantra. Million? No, 108,000. Does anybody have a pen? Okay. Okay, so let's just for a moment set our motivation and, really bring our attention to all of us together building this building for the benefit of all present and future Dharma practitioners and people who aren't yet practitioners but will become practitioners. Okay? So that they can have a place where they can practice, a place where the Vinaya can flourish, a place where the Sangha can do their different Sangha karmas, a place where we can have retreat and daily meditation and everything that we need to create all the facilities that will facilitate attaining awakening. Okay, so someone can start leading the Buddhist mantra, and while you chant, then I will sign. Tayata Om Mure Mure Maha Mure Soha. Tayata Om Mure Mure Maha Mure Soha. Tayata Om Mure Mure Maha Mure Soha. So right now we have a little committee, Venerable Tarpa, Venerable Damtra, Venerable Samten, and me. And we'll be meeting with the rest of the community. Oh. And we'll be meeting with the rest of the residential community to get everybody's ideas, because we're just at the designing stage now, so we want as many ideas as possible. If any of you have ideas, if any of you know an acoustician, yeah, that means a guy who, a guy, a woman, not a cat, who, yeah, acoustician who knows about making microphones and things so that your sound system goes well. Okay? Because that's really important. There's one other temple in America that they built, huge temple, but they didn't do that. And the sound in the building is not very good. So we want to really make sure that when people come for teachings, when people come for practices, that you can hear well, and that we can record everything and archive all the teachings and so on well. So please share whatever ideas you have with us also. Okay. The plan is ideally, okay, but with construction that nothing ever happens according to plan. Never. But we would like to have the general design done by November. And then maybe over the winter, if he can do all the construction documents. And then ideally start construction after they lift the road restrictions next year, which is usually in late May sometime. Okay, but as we know, nothing ever happens according to plan, but that's the general plan right now. Okay. So we'll have another signing when we have the contractor. We're thinking of asking the contractor who built this building to come back and do the next one. He was expensive, but he did very good work. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So he's going to have to come here to receive his gift. Yeah. And he won't be able to take it with him.